Everton win 2-1 against Crystal Palace. Come on. Hopefully, we'll be going over to the Hill Dickinson to get reaction from the Everton follow Everton team. But yeah, I'm absolutely delighted with that. It didn't look likely, did it? And so excited I couldn't even wait for the 30-second countdown. So apologies if you were waiting for the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But yeah, but before we cross over to the HD stadium, my younger brother Basil's with me.
I'm at 6.
Hey.
I can't hear you.
Okay, great start. I think you can see by our smiles that this was a massive win. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, sorry, the sound was turned down.
Yeah, so a win, come from behind against Palace, a side that had not basically lost all season in all 6 games. Everton looking a bit lethargic first half. Didn't see the win coming.
Yeah, the sun is shining in here. Everton have won. Everton move up the table. Everton 11 points. Only 4 points. I just looked behind the shite after all these games. A win that came from absolutely nowhere, as you said. At halftime, looked dead and out. I could have gone on live. I was that angry with the performance. I think a lot of Everton's very frustrated. You could hear the boos at halftime, but what a result! What a result that was to come out with a win against that Palace team who haven't lost a game for so long. Yeah, incredible.
Very much so. They're a resurgent team, buoyed by the cup heroics, and of course, stifled Everton in the first half. And we'll go and we'll unpick the game, I'm sure. But before we do that, and just see, I don't think anyone's there yet, but we do have the team on standby at the HD Stadium, waiting to come on. So in just a couple of minutes, we'll get some live reaction. But if you just joined us, I'm sure that you're familiar with Everton's 2-1 win this afternoon, which basically came out of the blue with a penalty from Iliman Ndiaye, who probably didn't have his best game going up to that point, but took his cool and slotted home in the south stand. And then when 8 minutes was announced, Everton knew that they could still, the game was there for taking. And it was Jack Grealish who got the goal, his first in a blue shirt, for Everton at least, blue. And that came after Beto headed in across from the right-hand side, also from Ndiaye, who kind of crossed it in after dropping his shoulder. But then I don't know where 12, 13 minutes of injury time. We were kind of still hanging on. I mean, how was it 13 minutes of injury time when there was only 3 in the derby?
I could not understand that. 8 minutes of injury time. I don't know where that came from, but obviously that played in our favour because we scored in extra time, didn't we? But where did the extra 4 minutes come from? That was absolutely ridiculous. 4.5 minutes. I mean, you could see your players shouting at the ref. I don't know where he got that from. There was a little bit of 30 seconds where Iliman Ndiaye was down injured, but that's outrageous. You don't get 4 minutes, as you say, in the derby, but we only got 4 minutes for the whole half.
Yeah, it's crazy, scandalous. And you could see Pickford was going berserk. Moyes was, I mean, they were all going a bit mad.
Playing against the ref every match.
Yeah, it does seem that way, and I just didn't know where he get it from, and I just couldn't believe what I was watching for the last 4 minutes. It was almost like, oh, well, they're just going to wait. They're just trying to wait for there to be another major chance. Palace would be kicking themselves. Thought they played well, but they just didn't manage the game well. And, you know, it's not about them, it's about us. But you've got to look at the fact that they stifled, they put 2 men on Grealish, they cut the lines through passing. They made it very, very difficult for our creative players to make any headway. I thought, you know, we'll go through performances in a minute, but I thought generally Palace they've only got themselves to blame. They should have been 2-0 up, 3-0 up.
They should have been 3, even 4-0 up, to be honest, if they'd just been a bit more clinical. That Mateta chance early on in the second half. They carved right through us like a knife through butter a lot of the game. The midfield for Everton was all over the shot, but you know, somehow managed to just turn it around in the second half. I don't know, where do you want to go? Do you want to go through the game, or I don't want to dwell too much on the
I think
poor bits, but
yeah, we'll talk about the game, but just to say, if you just joined us, hundreds of you joining, Everton celebrating probably the biggest win at the HT Stadium, but it looked like we were facing the barrel of defeat at least until the 75th minute when I didn't think we actually played I don't think we played well at all until we scored. I don't think we got in anywhere near to the levels that we've seen in previous games. Why are we being so lethargic in the first half yet again?
Yeah, it's every game now, isn't it? We only come for one half. We choose a half to play in, and the other half we're very lethargic and poor. I think last week we were lethargic in the second half against West Ham. But today it was the first half that we looked. No, we didn't even look lethargic. I just felt the first half the formations just got swallowed up by Palace's the 3-4-2-1. It just swarmed us. They had three at the back. They had the two wing backs always free, but always free down the line because Grealish just not going to track it. So they're always playing up against our fullbacks, and then they had midfield, two holders, and then there's two in between the lines. It's like 4-box midfield. In that midfield, it's just overly dominating us from all angles. And when we had the ball, they obviously had a midfielder on each side who could help the wing back and the centre back. They had the 3 centre back, so there was always 3 men getting close to either Grealish or Ndiaye or whoever it was for Everton, but we just couldn't progress the ball at all. And Everton were resulted to playing sideways and backwards passes for most of the first half. A lot of slow, laborious passes, and you could feel the frustration from the Everton fans in the stadium. But Palace was so quick to get back into shape. They had so much energy. They were all over us like a shot. And then when they lost the ball, they were just getting right into shape, making it really difficult, saying, right, you have it. You let Jake O'Brien, you let Mykolenko have the ball. They can't progress the ball. They can't really create much. We'll take our chances on that. And it really worked in that first half. Everton shocking, really didn't create a bean. Grealish was isolated out there. Ndiaye, I don't think he's really suited to playing in the 10. I know people like him in there, but he's an agile winger who wants to cut in, tricky little winger who wants to beat his man. I could see him playing in if he was in Palace's formation, he could play in one of the two behind a striker, where he doesn't have to be the sole number 10 creator. But he's not a creator who's going to get that ball in the 10 position and slot someone in or play a penetrative pass, because he's always looking to dribble rather than pass. So I just didn't think that really worked. And you saw the difference with Alcaraz and Dibbling and Barry were very contributed very little to the first half, and that really we were carrying passengers in the first half. I thought actually thanks a lot there, Amanda, for that contribution just seeing come up. But I thought actually Everton players we weren't too bad. Like when you look at an individual level, I thought Michael Keane in the first half was excellent, part of keeping them at bay from being more than one up. Tarkowski was good. Fullbacks were okay, but they weren't creating anything. The midfielders were okay. I didn't think we had a bad performance by any means, but an average performance doesn't beat a good side. An average performance in the Premier League against a good side, you get beat, and that's what it's shown through with that level of motivation and the tactical kind of matchup. Do you want to come in on anything?
Yeah, I mean, I know it's interesting to listen to your comments. I mean, we're watching the same game clearly. It wasn't a good performance, and I think that's my that's what you get with live streaming, is you get all these interruptions. But yeah, it wasn't a good performance, and I don't think we would have had this the smile on our face right now if we'd been doing this our time, because I was actually fuming, really. I thought Barry was terrible in the first half. You can't single out a single player, because I thought it was really down to Palace, but he was terrible. And I thought Everton looked better second half. They brought better on it, and yeah, maybe he's not a finesse striker, but he tried hard, made himself a nuisance, put himself positions which in turn created spaces. But I think, we'll go through some of the notes that I've got. Doesn't look like we're crossing over to HD. It can be. Signal's not always the best there. We'll start with the teams. And of course, Dibbling comes in because during Dewsbury Hall isn't in the team because of the suspension and all those mad bookings that he picked up for weird reasons. Dibbling didn't do an awful lot, but Palace didn't give him a lot of space. It was his first start. But other than that, the side was pretty much as we expected.
Yeah, I'm not just saying this, but I expected it would have been Alcaraz to play in the number 10 and keep Undying Grealish in the same place, but it wasn't. It was Dibbling who came in, and actually was kind of excited by that prospect of seeing Undying in the midfield and Dibbling out wide, getting his first start. He kind of forced his hand. Obviously, the other players are not really in the manager's thinking for the 11 at the moment. His Dibbling's on the edge of it, but yeah, it just didn't work. It just didn't pan out. From that first 45, you could see the level at that Barry and Dibbling. You can see they have qualities in both of their abilities, different qualities, but they struggled against the nous of Palace, and obviously in a system that wasn't really functioning that well, and kind of waiting to go a goal down before trying to do anything.
Yeah, they started
Barry isolated up front.
Very much. So let's go through some of the talking points for the first half. Palace definitely started the brighter. Everton, once again, not looking really on the ball from day one, and Pickford was forced into a save quite early. Then another Pickford save from Gay after a very long throw, which was Palace's not-so-secret weapon. That came on 18 minutes. Then on 25 minutes, Mitchell is on the left-hand side of the penalty area, drops his shoulder, and it just hits the upright on the wrong side of the post. But Palace threatening constantly during the game. Just a minute later on 26, Mateta takes a great first touch. Pickford saves low to his left-hand side in the south stand. And you just think the goal is coming. They've been knocking on the door. Then I think Barry had a chance where I think any connection probably would have resulted in a goal. It was a lovely ball in from Garner from the from the left-hand side. And it just needed a touch. And Barry just didn't look like he was going to... It's frustrating.
Great ball.
Yeah, it was a fantastic ball, and it's not the easiest maybe, but any touch would have really caused a massive chance. And it just didn't look like he wanted to get there, and it was kind of embarrassing that he didn't make any contact, really. That was Everton's only chance in the first half hour. Then I think on 36, it was a great goal that opened the scoring from Palace. Breaking through, passing right. They opened up Everton with a 3-on-2 attack. And Munoz, I mean, look, Pickford, it goes between his legs, but I'm not sure he can be blamed because he's exposed on that right-hand side, and it's the overlapping fullback really there, isn't it? That gets that extra space that the game didn't have that space until that break, and it really was Everton's own doing, that goal. At that point with that Palace goal, what were your thoughts?
Well, I texted you, didn't I? Probably 30 seconds before the goal, saying this is shite, and that was 35 minutes into the half. I think at that point it was like, this is just rubbish. Like, and then by the time I'd sent that message, I think they were just up the field and they scored. So yeah, I could see it all coming. But it was Munez, wasn't it? It was the number 2. We knew he was a dangerous player. We knew his quality in those attacking fullback areas, and we didn't deal with it. We didn't have a plan for it. Like, I don't know what the plan was. Like, Grealish is not going to track him. So is it Mikalenko's man? We just got run ragged at times with the way that they had players all in different positions. The two formations up against each other. It was like, it was always going to lend itself to a very open system. It was just frustrating watching us because we felt really open in the midfield with huge gaps. And then as soon as we got the ball, it was slow and pedestrian. And the Palace run into shape, really compact shape, let Everton play out wide, get men on group. They just didn't. That was really frustrating to watch, like how much space they had when they had the ball and how much little space we had when we had the ball. And at that point, you're just trying to get to half time because they could have found another goal, I think, before half time if they'd just been a bit more clinical. But Everton, you could credit them for hanging on, and Tarkowski making some good blocks through the game, some good interceptions. Jacob Ryan off the line. Michael Keane was heading everything away, was getting his foot on things. So they weren't really making mistakes, like in the way that they weren't getting beaten by a man. They were just getting run ragged by the formation and the interchanges and the lack of defensive cover.
Yeah, 100%. It's frustrating when you see the lack of space that we have against their seeming freedom that they had on the ball. Some of that's down to the quality of their management, which I thought was first class in the way that they approached the game. Stopping Everton's creative by nullifying the ability to pass, to allow Everton to pass through the lines, closing down Everton, making it very, very hard for us. And sides will do that, especially when they come to us because they realise that we've got the crowd, we've got a new stadium, we're on the up. So they're recognising that. But, they've got quality players that are full of confidence, not losing the season. And they're kind of playing that expansive football, Palace, that is attractive to watch and it's very effective. And I think that, you could say at half time, maybe on balance, it was the fair score. If anything, Palace probably would have felt like they wanted to go further ahead. Going into the second half then, it really was an amazing pass, 63 minutes, through ball. Pickford comes out, and Matata has, it looks like a golden opportunity first time around. And you see the replay, he doesn't have the full goal to aim at, but it's a calamity really of a finish. It sort of catches under his feet. I mean, at that point, I just saw the goal beckoning. There was no way that wasn't going to be 2-0. But the scuff shot, which was kind of out of character from Matata, really, is the only reason why we're saying here that Everton have come out 2-1. Because if that goes 2-0, people start leaving. The crowd start groaning. I don't think the subs have any impact. We're not in the game at all at that point, and it's game over.
Yeah, it was a massive chance, wasn't it, to go 2-0? And as you say, it would have been a tall order at that point to try and claw back from 2-0 in the middle of the second half. I think it's worth just pointing out for about the first 7 or 8 minutes of that second half, Everton started with a real intensity, a real desire. Like the subs were made, obviously, Barry and Dibbling came off, and Beto, Alcaraz came on. And we know how well Beto and Alcaraz have played together as a partnership in the past. And it's weird how they haven't been used a bit more based on that. And I think you look at the two of them played against Palace. I was at the away fixture at the back end of last season. They caused Palace problems. I think they both scored. Like, why weren't they? Why were they sat on the bench? I don't know. It's easy to say that now. They came on, but anyway, Everton. They started really well, but I think they lost the impetus after an injury. I can't remember who it was, but one of our players went down. Was it Keane? I think. And
Keane went off.
We lost the momentum.
A sort of half chance before their second big chance. Well, the chance we just referred to there. Keane played well, but he had a half decent shot where I think the ball was played into him off the Garner played the ball into the box, was laid off. Keane had a shot, and then it sort of came back to Keane. He had another shot. But after that, Keane ended up going off, and you're absolutely spot on. We should probably note that Alcaraz came on in the second half, as did Beto, of course, and Alcaraz coming on. Did inject a lot of life into Everton's into the middle of the park that Shrewsbury Hall would have had. I'm really hoping that signal permitting we'll be able to cross over to Andy in a minute, who looks like he's in the car on the way back. But yeah, basically Alcaraz did have a shot on 65, which Henderson saved. But it was always an ambitious angle because it was sort of on the left-hand side of the penalty area. And You know, he decides to take it on, and credit to him, it was always slightly rising. It was going to go in, but Henderson did make the save. Then we had a chance of England's number one coming from the cheeky Palace fans, who were maintaining a goal until 75 minutes, which is when I think that things turned around for the Blues. Possession-wise, Everton started to come into the game a lot more after they scored the penalty, which came on the back of a lovely weighted ball from I think Garner Gay. And I think that the defender, can't remember who the defender was. It was probably Minos again, but we'll need to check that. But basically takes out Tim Irabunum, who also did okay when he came on in the second half for Keane, which forced Garner to the right back. But basically, he thought he'd done the job when Beto went over. When he got past Beto, but because Irabunum, and credit to him, we need to see more of this, had ran past the ball and ran on. Why have we not seen this for like 5 years? Run through to the box, and then he takes him out. It's a penalty.
Yeah. It was, as Abba says in the comments, it was Lacroix. I don't know how to pronounce it, Lacroix or Lacroix. It was the centre back who took him down. He just didn't see the run. I think he lunged in, and it was a really good run from a midfielder. We'd never see that, as you say, never see them getting in beyond. Because first half, you got Barry completely isolated, but the second half, the energy from Everton was just ridiculous. In comparison, it was night and day. That's what I'd say. Night and day. That would be my title, because the energy, they're getting in the box, they're getting men around, the aggression, they want to get the ball back, they want to progress it, they're playing it faster. You got Alcaraz in those pockets, he's linking the play up. You got Irabunum, who was forced to play on. He probably wouldn't have come on at that moment. I actually think it actually worked out better, because the game then switched back in our favour, weirdly. When O'Brien went to centre back, James Garner offered a little bit more at right back in terms of being able to just whip a great ball in. He's obviously got Everton's best delivery from open play with his right foot, and Alcaraz in that middle, and then allowing Tim to just make runs in behind, just use his energy. So you're not really having to defend as much because we're losing the game, and it really suited him. And Everton and Beto even. I mean, it wasn't none of it was perfect, but it was a determination to win the ball and not let Palace play and have that aggression, create chances, win free kicks, win corners, get long throw-ins. I mean, there's the momentum in the crowd, and it all you could just tell it changed. Maybe we'll get somebody from the ground to verify this, but.
We will do that in a second.
That's just how it felt.
We'll just wrap up, but really, I think what happened was when we got the penalty, which sort of came out of nowhere. Yes, we were building momentum, but Palace had their fair share of it. Could have gone 2-0 up. It could have gone out of Everton's reach. At that point, of course, we get the penalty. It's a bit of a nervous wait for Ndiaye. He looks nervous, but he takes it clinically cool, slotting home in the park the park end. The South Stand, but of course it's a big stand. You know, in case you're wondering, Basil and I didn't get to the game today, despite our season tickets, and of course, typically Everton go and win, so maybe we need to stay away a bit more. But 80 minutes, Grealish gets a shot in, but then really nothing happens of note until the 92nd minute, which is just after the 8 minutes have gone up. It's as I said at the beginning of the show, it's a nice drop of the shoulder from Ndiaye. Crosses it in as we see him do, gets that half a yard of space. Beto comes steaming in, brilliant header, but it's blocked on the line, of course, point blank. Then in the attempt to clear it away, Grealish sticks out his left calf. Of course, we know the size of it, and it deflects into the net. Pandemonium, and that was just in my lounge. Absolute berserk. Grealish's first goal. Much loved player by Everton fans, despite just being on loan right now. And I'd love to know what the reaction was at the Hill Dickinson, and I'm going to cross over to the man who's going to bring it to us.
I never thought more like singing the blues when Everton win and Liverpool lose. Oh, Everton, you got me singing the blues. Fucking that stadium was loud. Absolutely loud. It was amazing. You two have missed an amazing game. The first half, shit. Second half, honestly, it didn't get a sniff. We were fucking brilliant. And as Ryan pointed out, I don't want to criticise Keane because he's been brilliant. He was brilliant, but he changed. But when he came off, the game changed.
Yeah.
It's mad. I don't get it.
Yeah.
The
It was the balance, Mabsy,
was shocking.
We have to hold Keane's hand.
The balance, Mabsy, with Garner at right back.
Yeah, but the referee was awful. Fucking, where did he get these extra fucking 5 minutes from? Who the fuck knows? Ridiculous.
Absolute ridiculous.
Absolute
because, I mean, it was 13 minutes in the end, and yet 3 minutes for the derby, and it's double standards. It's like, well, where'd you get this from? And why so little there? Why was there 9 minutes difference?
Well, you can get a bit of it, like 2 minutes of the VAR. I get that, right? But where's the rest of it come from? The other fucking 2 or 3 minutes gone. Where did that come from? But I mean, I'm not going to talk about negatives. I'm going to be positive. Absolute.
He was trying to play till they scored, wasn't he?
Yeah, massive win.
Yeah, he just wanted them to have as many long throw-ins as they could because they were really dangerous at long throw-ins. He kept allowing them to take them.
Yeah. What?
Say they should have been out of sight.
We should have been out of sight earlier.
No, they should.
Oh, they should have been out of sight. At the end of the day, they should have killed the game off the first half. It does a little feel like maybe we didn't deserve the points, but fuck it, we did. We got them. All 3 of them.
We ended their 19 game.
I ended the 19 game unbeaten run. So fucking amazing.
That long. I know that they hadn't lost this season, which in itself is a big feat because the Premier League is so challenging now that it's hard to go unbeaten for long periods, as we've seen with Liverpool losing 3 games in a row. Sorry,
say that again.
Sorry, I just had to put that on record.
Say that again.
Save this stream for a little while because it's a bit of a collector's piece. But in all honesty, it would have been very different. Very much like, why are we so bad? Why wasn't? But literally, look, I think we've stolen the points there. I thought we probably did enough to deserve to win the second half 1-0, and say it's a draw would have been probably the right result. Yeah. We've come out.
I disagree with that. We stole it with the second half. Was just we dominated. They didn't have one sniff. Pickford didn't have one save. I think
they did have a massive. They did have a massive chance that I spoke about.
But okay, they had one. But the first half, they should have killed us.
Yeah,
and they didn't.
Yeah, they should have been outside. Palace are a good side. We'll see that they'll probably finish top 6.
I don't know about that,
they might finish in Europe. Yeah,
they might finish 6th.
Finish in Europe if they get an easy jet flight on their holidays, more like.
Listen, Palace are a good side. I think we should give them more credit than we're doing, so that this.
But we're not. We are giving them credit, as I said. As I said, you know, they should have been outside in the first half. They did batter us.
More credit than a pay-as-you-go mobile.
Yeah,
they should have been out of sight.
Everyone's the Flash original. My brother-in-law's walking to stand up. Everyone's buzzing. Honestly, that stadium. I've had my criticisms on this channel, as everyone knows. You know, I think there's still work to do on it, but it is improving with each game. Teething troubles. That's all it has been, but everyone's been frustrated. But that stadium was rocking at the end.
Barry's dismal performance. I don't want to repeat how I described him, but basically, the stadium itself, with wins like today, it will only build in momentum. And I think a lot of people are starting to feel like they're getting a bit of a match day routine. I still feel an element of it feels a bit alien in places, but I'm building a routine. And I think that one of the things they said on commentary, which was not biased at all with Leon Osman, was that if Everton did score, the roof would come off. Did the roof come off?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it came off, and then some. The penalty, it was a crystal clear penalty.
Yeah.
You know, the second goal by Grealish was just absolutely.
It was off the line first, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was off the line by Beto, and then Grealish knocked it in. But it was just pandemonium, absolutely buzzing, you know. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's the loudest in the, you know, because the Brighton game, wasn't it one of the loudest stadiums in the world?
The roof came off when we scored. Everyone was bouncing up and down.
I'm surprised you didn't leave, Ryan.
Yeah,
I think after the Tarkov goal, I think people have learned not to leave. but it's so inconsistent with this added time nonsense. And I'd love to have some sort of standards with that. It is ridiculous. So we need two things sorting out. We need handball clarifying, because I think the league, you're getting a lot of experts not understanding what's handball and what wasn't. There was a chance in this game that looked like handball to me, but obviously it wasn't. Yeah,
well, let's be honest.
First shot, it's like that's handball in the box. But then obviously, we can't get his hands out of the way. Please, somebody come and clarify professionally what that's going on. And second of all, get an independent person, do the added time. Make it based on how much the ball's in play, or whatever.
What happened for that VAR? Because we were like violent conduct. What went on?
There was a bit of a jab from one of the Palace players on, I think it was Tarkowski, kind of just jabbed him in the stomach area, but they didn't think it was a red card, enough for a red card.
Right. Probably
wasn't enough for a red card. It wasn't like he launched in his face or something. It was a little bit of a aggressive poke. I think we'd be a bit annoyed if we got a red card for that in the last 5 minutes.
They didn't come here to play. That they knew the game was up in the second half, because honestly, absolute dirty as hell.
You could see they struggled a bit to deal with it in the second half.
Why did it change for Palace? Was it so dramatically, or was it?
It was just the intensity and the physicality, as Ryan says. It's just Everton's energy. Beto was, as I said to Stevie, he wasn't having his amazing game. He wasn't perfect, but he was a battling ram. He was getting the ball. He was doing the simple things. Alcaraz in behind him had energy. He was chasing things. He was linking up the play. It was different to Ndiaye, who doesn't really link the play. He just receives the ball and tries to dribble. Everton were more of a team in that second half, really physically playing together, better balance after Keane came off, and it rode. Everton had the momentum, and even though they probably didn't necessarily deserve to win the game necessarily, it was probably a 1-1 game. Their determination and the aggression and all that came with it. And Everton's fans, that second half, we managed to somehow find a way. And, Everton this season against teams who they're not expected to beat, Brighton, Wolves away, Palace at home, probably not expected to get any of those as wins compared to West Ham and Villa.
We've had very winnable fixtures.
And we've won those games. Somehow we find ways to win the games we're not expected to get to win.
Is Hill Dickinson a fortress now?
Certainly
undefeated.
I think the wall around the dock is a fortress, but I'm not sure the stadium is quite that at the moment. I mean, it was very, very flat and quiet at times by the sounds of it. I had the pleasure of watching in 5.1. Now, that's the first time I've listened to the game. I actually saw Jan on the front row. He's very easy. I watched in surround sound, and I've been at the game. I have to admit that it's not very loud. Unless we're actually taking a corner or winning a game, it does come across as quite quiet.
Yeah, but you know what though, right? I get this and well, the atmosphere. It wasn't any better at Goodison, and when everyone goes on,
we had nothing to shout about. Let's be honest. Everton's
it still wasn't great
in the first half was nothing short of disgraceful, and I don't know what they saw in Barry, and I really hope I'm proved wrong. But for £28 million, I think it's absolutely disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. I've never known a player wear effectively the 9 shirt and look so bad, so isolated, didn't do anything right.
Barry wasn't wearing a 9 shirt.
I know he wasn't wearing the 9, but he's playing it up in the centre forwards position at home in a brand new stadium. And he looked dreadful.
The guy's a kid, and
he's 23. He's not a kid.
He's not a kid.
He's brand new to the league. I'm not saying I think he's anything much, but I don't think he's terrible. I think him and Dibbling could be players that we end up selling for half what we got. I don't think they'll end up just walking out, though. I think they've got something about them. They're just not ready to be playing week in, week out and take the responsibility for being Everton's starting players.
So do we need a striker then in January?
He's not robust enough. Look, I think if you buy loads of players, which we did, you're going to have a couple of flops, and I can see him being one. But we'll see. And I hope to, as I said, I hope to be massively
one of the ones
proven
who spent money on. He's a massive
between him and Beto. Beto is the best of the two, by quite a distance, in my opinion. But because Beto hasn't been hitting the net, I thought he played quite well. But because he hasn't been hitting the net, he couldn't just keep backing him every game. So what he's been doing, and Moy said, whoever gets in is going to get a run in the side. He's been rotating them to keep them on the toes. But
yeah, but you know what though? This is the thing is I don't like this rotation. We need consistency. You know, either give him a run or give Beto a run. I don't get this like changing it week in, week out nonsense.
You do need consistency, but if you have two strikers that effectively are not putting the ball in the net, and look, the service is terrible. It's dreadful service.
Just to clarify, I that's in a few comments. I'm not saying by any means we're going to sell Dibbling and Barry in January or even next summer. I think I'm saying in 2-3 years' time they will. I think based on what I'm seeing, they won't get much worse. Well, they won't get any worse. They will get a bit better, and I think they'll still be worth half what they paid, even if they don't quite deliver for Everton. I don't think they're absolutely flops that just walk out for free and are useless.
No, I think that Barry shouldn't be starting. Beto should be starting, and if it doesn't work out, it's not because of Beto. It's because the side is lethargic. They come out and they wait until it's 5 minutes from half time. That's the only time I thought Everton looked like they had any energy. With 5 minutes to go, they go, "Oh, we've got a team talk with David Moyes in a minute. I think we're a bit frightened of this. This is terrible." And that's the only time we woke up. And the thing is, we could be on here having lost 2-0 or 2-1 or even the 1-1. We're very lucky to have come out with a win today. And I think that we need to pick out this. This is not acceptable that we play for one half of the game.
Yeah.
We don't. It's not like. It's more about the attitude. If we've not got the quality and the opposition has the quality, fine. But we didn't have the attitude right from that first whistle.
Yeah, no, the first half was shocking, absolutely. And we do need to sort this one half thing out. We need to be playing for 90 minutes. Every game is.
Yeah, maybe Ryan's going to get his burger because I don't know.
Right, you're heading to Burger King.
Mabsy, it's great to have you on. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, I'm going to dip out up the fucking toppings.
I'll let you enjoy the rest of our show. Thanks, Mabsy, there in the car. Yeah, of course, he's not driving, and in case you're busy watching this, and well, you're probably just celebrating this Everton win, of course. But yeah, Everton winning 2-1. The win puts us up 7th, which means we're actually only 5 points off the top of the league. So I think we're still on for the title if you're very, very optimistic. And Everton obviously getting their 3rd win of the season, undefeated at the Hill Dickinson at home in the Premier League. And the next fixture is against Tottenham. One will be at Basil, and that's in a couple of weeks' time. There's an international break coming up next week. England play Wales on Thursday, which will no doubt feature Jordan Pickford. And then, of course, the Blues come back into action after that with a trip to the Etihad to take on former champions Man City, who've notoriously made it difficult for Everton in years gone by when they've gone there. And you have to really go back to the Tim Cahill era to see any big, consistent performances from Everton out there. But going into the international break, it's a massive win, isn't it?
Huge win. Not necessarily expected, especially half-time. Resigned myself to it being probably a defeat. Yeah, massive win, taking it in. It just transforms it. Like we're now, look at where we are in the table, look at the teams around us, and only a few points between it. So just keeps us in there, just keeps us in that top half battle with all those other teams. It's just, yeah. And it's good to go in the international break, isn't it? Off a win and come out of it off the win, and probably not a bad fixture to come out of the international break with City. Hopefully, it kind of breaks up their rhythm a little bit, and we can go there and try and get a result. Tough game though.
City play Brentford. I think it's already kicked off.
A couple of tough games coming up, obviously, with City and Spurs. And I think the 3 points, just a little bit of breathing room to say, like, we don't necessarily, if we just play our best and we lose, then it's not going to be the end of the world. But the key to it is to tactically set up right and play our best and see what happens.
Yeah, some people like Kevin thinks also what I think about Barry.
He's poor, but if you look at him against Brighton and look at the 2 goals we scored, his link up play is really good, and it sets us on the attack for the 2 goals. I think he wasn't great today. He didn't hold the ball up. The ball flicked away from him. He was completely isolated. He didn't make runs in behind. You can criticize it all day long. It just didn't seem to work today.
Yeah, there wasn't any link up, but I just think, it's you need a striker that's going to create fear in the opposition, that's going to find a way, and just that didn't happen. But yeah, you're right. The Man City game, it's not the sort of game you can just turn up to. I think I'll have them fired up, and providing that we don't pick up any injuries in the international break and everyone comes back together, we need to give them a good go. But you're right, the win does take the pressure off that fixture, because they're going in with a defeat does send Everton. And then there's no easy games. There's no easy games at all. Palace had most of the ball, but in the end, Everton ended up with slightly more possession, 50.4%. The shots were 14-15 to Palace, slightly on top there. And of course, the only stats that really matter are the fact that Everton won 2-1. And I'm looking around thinking, is that going to get disallowed still, even when Grealish scores? Because I just think that's football in this day and age. But of course, it stood. Grealish looked like he was really emotional. I didn't get to watch the interview. I'm sure it'll be on downstairs. And I paused the coverage. But if you just joined us, maybe you've come out. I mean, it is round that wall. Getting out can be difficult. Of course, celebrating the end as well might have held up people. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you watch it from the beginning. Make sure you subscribe, that you like, you tell your friends, the postman and the milkman and all of that. Or just your mate down the supermarket. But it's been absolute pleasure having a company today for this post-match reaction. Of course, we do go live, win, lose or draw. And we've been doing so under every manager under the sun. And every lineup, we get behind the Blues no matter what. It's not always been the most easy thing to follow. And even this week with defeats in the derby and then, of course, at Wolves, it just wasn't the easiest week. And then on Monday night, Everton getting a draw against West Ham, but then today coming good against Palace. Have you got any closing comments, Basil, before we wrap up?
No, just really happy with that win. It just was really good experience in that second half, and obviously a bit sad that we weren't there. But the main thing is that we won the game. Everton players have left Moyes with a little bit of a selection headache, and the Grealish parent club loan issue. There's a little bit of a selection situation to kind of think about. I don't know what's happened to Steve there. I don't have any controls of this system, but Everton have a bit of a selection headache next week, so I'm sure the team will be here to discuss in the preview to City. We'll probably break that down how we were gonna line up based on what we saw today. You got anything else you want to say?
Thanks, Basil. I just caught that. I don't know why it chucked us out. Just to say, make sure that you do tell everyone, we are starting to bump people into people that we're not bumping people. We're starting to bump into people we know that have subscribed and supported our channel from the days of cats crawling across the screen and Everton being defeated and replacing the manager every few weeks, through to now where we have thousands of subscribers, lots of great backers. Thanks everyone who's donated today. £5 hit. £5, £10 here actually does go towards the channel. It's not towards our back pocket. All we do is we just put that money back in and we use that money to make the channel better, whether that's buying equipment or doing whatever's right with the platforms and the subscription and the hosting and sorts of things like that. So every single penny does go back into the channel, not into Ryan's kitty to go to McDonald's. But yeah, it's all good. And of course, we do find it hard sometimes going live after defeats, but this year's definitely been a marked improvement. So it's been one of those games where we now need to take a bit of a break and take a kind of bit of a relief from the adrenaline that comes with match day and celebrate this evening. So I suppose it's from everyone at Follow Everton, including Basil and myself. I'd just like to say thank you for your company post-match and enjoy this win. And we will see you again for the City preview, if not before.